Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and being a producer of Wrestle Massacre as well as Inside Movies Galore, I am David Streggy, and welcome to Delusions of Grandeur. Enjoy the reviews. I certainly did.
I'm setting the example. And what I've done is going to be puzzled over and studied and followed forever.
Yeah. Delusions of grandeur. You're no messiah. You're a movie of the week. You're a fucking t-shirt at best.
Okay, Dave, that's it. Screw you and your college flunkies. I've had enough of this from you and from everyone else. I know what you guys are trying to do. Break me down, drive me out of the force. Well, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than a lame prank like this to get Curtis Mooney to throw in his badge, so fuck you. Over.
Did you miss me? I guess not.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting episode of What's in My Room here on Delusions of Grandeur. I am David Streggy, and this is another pickup video of films that I have recently picked up. So, honestly, anything movie related or anything really that I do pick up. So, the first thing I wanted to show you, this was something extra that came with my from my buddy Tito. He sent me a copy of a poster for American Guinea Pig from Unearthed Productions. Thought that was kind of cool. So that was cool. Next, I have this drawing that came from Jeffrey Garcia, a director I know from Texas. He said, "Hey Dave, thanks for the support. Jeff, 10/22/21." And I just wanted to show off this drawings that he did on the mail thing. I thought they were kind of cool. Just maybe it goes like that. But I think I'm going to keep that just for the sake of keeping it. And then, of course, I got 3 business cards from Whiskey Drankers, and a Whiskey Dranker sticker. So that's kind of cool. So the first thing I want to show you is something that I ended up some things that I ended up picking up from Jeffrey Garcia. He's a young director that hails from Texas, and his first feature film is coming on to Troma now at the moment. So I decided to pick up some of his short films. I wish he had all of them for sale or whatnot, but he did not. So first I have Terrence. And Jeffrey Garcia his production company is basically Dream Atomic. And Terrence came with a little sticker of Terrence and his puppet. So that's kind of cool. All of the discs are just, you can tell that he personally did these discs and then just wrote on the labels or whatnot. But I don't care. I was supporting the director in his endeavor. And then I have Whimsy and Hester, which is another short film that he did. He signed these for me, so thank you. I guess they won at the Jim Thorpe Independent Film Festival. It was the official selection. It went to the Scum Dance Film Festival. And it was at Puff 3. It was a Best Audience Award, Best Short, and it was an official selection of Diamond in the Rough Film Festival in 2018. And next, this is the short film that I first came across of his. It's called Radio Candy. And it basically says on the back here, it says a metaphysical Southern black comedy following the exploits of a bullied Boy Scout and his quest for vengeance. This was an official selection of the Trauma Dance Film Festival in 2019. So, and then this says it's called Jeffrey Garcia's Kino Club Collection, and this is bizarre sketches and shorts, and music videos. So it's basically a what I would call a mixtape, basically, but it uses a lot of sketches from him, and he worked on creating a lot of the video that's involved in it. So I guess that's kind of cool. And I guess there is one thing I did want to say is that I guess there was this thing going on with Fullmoon Entertainment, and they basically were offering 7 free movies to anyone who pre-ordered Charles Band's new book, and you sent proof that you did so. So I got sent 8 movies from Charles Band. Well, technically 9, if you consider this free gift that I guess they put out. It's called Deadly Doll's Deepest Cuts. It's Bunker of Blood Chapter 2. So yeah, this is a free gift. I guess it's the greatest hits of some of their doll-related films. Next, I picked up the Resonator, Miskatonic U. And I guess this is directed by William Butler, put out by a Full Moon Entertainment. So I thought this was pretty cool movie. I actually already watched it. Next, let's see where. Here. This goes with this. So they were selling copies of Cassex, and Cassex is directed by Lindsay Schmitz. It is from their Surrender Cinema label, which is a softcore porn label of Full Moon features. And they were selling cassettes, which I'll read the back here. Let's get metaphysical with cassettes on digital disc. Using patented laser technology, this DVD will transport you to the next dimension The Cassex dimension. A newlywed couple finds a mysterious home movie in their backyard and opens a door to a twisted dimension of debauchery, ruled by the maniacal ghost of an 80s dirty movie queen, seduced and beguiled by the synthetic siren song of small screen succubus. The innocent Maya must descend into an adults only alternate universe to save her marriage. But is she too late? Will her marital bonds shatter, plunging her headlong into a lust-fueled eternity of shameless decadence? Anything is possible in the Cassex, or in Cassex. So this came with the all-too-new Femalien 3, which is called Femalien Cosmic Crush. So I guess this was also directed by Lindsay Schmitz. And this says those star-hopping Altarians are back in a cosmic caper of conjugal consequence. When an ancient hunger is awakened in the far reaches of space, the Altarian High Council sends newly ordained collector Maxi Prime, played by Kira Noir, to investigate with her nimble know-it-all sidekick, Gabby Jinx. There they discover an ambitious professor, played by Denise Milfort, and her students in the grips of the Thanagarian Pleasure Pod, a mega parasite who's giving everyone good everyone good vibrations while slowly sapping them of their life essence. It's up to the Atarians, hedonistic heroes of here and beyond, to put a stop to the tentacled terror. But when the professor and her students become mentally dominated by the Pod Queen and are turned into her willing slaves, the situation gets very sticky. So there we have Femalien 3, Cosmic Crush. I thought that was kind of cool. And I'd gotten a copy of The Killer Eye Part 2, but I didn't get a copy of The Killer Eye. And this one is directed by Richard Cassan. Says on the front here, a vision of pure terror, and the same is on the back. So this is another supposedly very cool a Fullmoon feature that I ended up picking up. Then, of course, I've got Barbie and Kendra Storm Area 51. And this one is directed by Charles Band. First, they fought the Corona zombies. Then they saved the Tiger King. So this is the third film in this trilogy of films that were obviously done during Corona times. Now sexy LA airheads Barbie and Kendra bring their unique brand of quarantine quirk on an adventure that's truly out of this world. Fullmoon's wacky and controversial Coronaverse expands anew in Barbie and Kendra Storm Area 51, the third movie following Corona zombies, and Barbie and Kendra Save the Tiger King, in the world's only quarantine set and shot film franchise. Get ready for a heady dose of pandemic panic as the sexy and spacey dynamic duo, played once more by Cody Renee Cameron and Robin Sidney, turn on the TV and get tuned into a viral saga that takes them deep into the forbidden fortress of Area 51 and beyond. So, combining insanely funny new footage with hilariously redubbed retro sci-fi cinema awesomeness, including wild footage from the classic David Friedman 60s sexploitation romp Space Thing, Barbie and Kendra, Storm Area 51 is the most outrageous corona exploitation comedy yet. Get ready to do some seriously sexy and silly storming with everyone's fave, socially distanced ditses. Next, I picked up Necropolis. This is under Fullmoon's Grindhouse collection. It says, beneath the metropolis is Necropolis, where they love New York to death. So this was directed by Bruce Hickey. It was produced by Cynthia DePaula and Tim Kincaid. It was put out by Empire Pictures and Tyson Entertainment. Lusty Leanne Baker and Michael Conte take you down under to Necropolis in the action-packed zombie thriller that makes Night of the Living Dead look like a slumber party. The streets of New York are nothing like Eva remembers them. In those good old days, witches like Eva were roasted at the stake, but that was 300 years ago. If it wasn't for her indestructible magic ring, she would never have been reincarnated to her new life as a leather-clad motorcycle-riding punkette. So here I have Necropolis. Then I also chose this film. It's called Necropolis Legion. It's one of the Deadly 10. It's directed by Chris Alexander, who has done films like Female Vampire, Blood for Irina, and Queen of Blood. He also, if I remember correctly, he is also a writer as well for his own movie reviewing blog. So, here I have Necropolis Legion, a reimagining of the 1986 Empire Pictures exploitation classic. Necropolis Legion tells the tale of the malevolent vampire sorceress Eva, who played by Ali Chappell, whose midnight rituals are interrupted when her vengeful husband, Joseph Lopez, executes her, sending her soul to the netherworld. Years later, when occult writer Lisa, played by Angie Duke, of Bad Kids Go to Hell, and 645, moves into the reputedly haunted house. She begins having vivid, perverse dreams. Slowly, surely, Eva's spirit begins taking over the young woman's mind, using her body as a vessel, and return to as a vessel to return to Earth. Also starring cult movie legend Lynn Lowry, David Cronenberg Shivers, and directed by Chris Alexander, Queen of Blood. Necropolis Legion is an atmospheric, surreal horror head trip. So there I have Necropolis Legion. Another choice from me, and the last in this section of Full Moon that I chose to get sent for free is Don't Let Her In. And this one is directed by Ted Nicklau from Full Moon Pictures, and it says on the front here from aptcomics.com, moody horror that's a gory reminder of what the genre can be. It's called Don't Let Her In, and it says the roommate from hell has come home. So yeah, pretty excited to own that. I watched it and it was pretty damn good. I've loved everything from Ted Nicklau, the Subspecies, and you name it. So this is something that I picked up from Jan Chaos. He is a Canadian gore director from Canada. And he puts out in limited editions of people's films just to get them out there, honestly. And this says it's Maddie Kelly's perverted black art horror short film anthology. And if you can see the number on this, this is number 23 out of 25. It says, "Welcome to the sick, perverted mind of Matty Kelly. DIY Productions is proud to present to you 7 horror short films coming out straight from the rotting bowels of Finland, hell pit of the underground. Are you ready for gore, nudity, and perverted black art violence? Those short films are about to hit you hard with a brass knuckle right in the face. The short films that are presented in this particular order: Blood for Blood, Luna de Morte, Death Tape, Last Confession, Melody of Madness, You Die, and 12 Days of Welveet? Something like that. So yeah, if you want to check out the back here, you can find some of the pictures. And there we go. Next, I took a trip to Walmart and spent $100. And I picked up Nicolas Cage's new film, Pig, which truffle hunter played by Nicolas Cage, who lives alone in the Oregonian wilderness, must return to his past in Portland in search of his beloved foraging pig after she is kidnapped. And just looking, seems to be directed by Michael Sarnowski. Might be interesting. Oh, let me put these down. I want to put these away. Give me 1 second. All right. Next, I have a Shudder release called Stay Out of the Attic. I've been trying to collect these whenever they come out, but it's really hard to. Jaron Lauder directs this, and it says, a diverse group of ex-cons turned professional movers are convinced by their creepy client to pull an all-nighter for a generous pay bump. It turns out their client is a Nazi surgeon and his living experiments are rotting in the attic. As the night progresses and rooms are cleared, they slowly uncover the horrors that exist inside his old Victorian mansion. Together they must find a way to escape these horrors. So here I have Stay Out of the Attic. Okay. Next, I have another Shudder original. This one is actually called The Banishing. It's from Christopher Smith, the director of Creep, Triangle, and Black Death. Comes the true story of the most haunted house in England. A young reverend, his wife, and daughter move into a manor with a horrifying secret. When a vengeful spirit haunts the little girl and threatens to tear the family apart, the reverend and his wife are forced to confront their beliefs. They must turn to black magic by seeking the help of a famous occultist, or risk losing their daughter. So here I have The Banishing. Next, I have a copy of Skull the Mask. This is another Shudder original. And it says it's got blood-drenched... It's a blood-drenched splatter-ific gore-tastic. It is written and directed by Armando Fonseca and Capel Furman. After disappearing over 50 years ago, an ancient artifact known as the Mask of Anhanga resurfaces at an archaeological dig in the Amazon. It is brought to Sao Paulo to be exhibited at a museum. But before reaching its destination, the mask starts to claim its victims as it possesses and forces them to carry out visceral sacrifices in gruesome fashion. With the body count increasing, it's up to the officer, Beatriz Obdias, to find the mask and put an end to the murder spree. So here I have Skull the Mask. Oh, let's see. Ah, yes. Next, I have In the Earth. This is a film that's directed by Ben Wheatley. Looking forward to watching this. His movies are trippy. He reminds me of Darren Aronofsky. As the world searches for a cure to a dangerous virus, a scientist and park scout venture deep in the forest for a routine equipment run. Through the night, their journey becomes a terrifying voyage through the heart of darkness, the forest coming to life around them. So here I have In the Earth. Should be a trippy film. Also picked up at Walmart. So here I have Black Pumpkin. This stars Matt Rife, Ellie Patricios, and Grayson Thorne Kilpatrick. It says Trick or Treat. On the back, it says it's written and directed by Ryan McConaughey. I guess this is put out by Uncorked Entertainment. And it says here, on October 31st, 2018, two preteens in a small town accidentally awaken an evil that has lain dormant for decades. They are forced to survive through a terrifying Halloween night of cat and mouse from the monster known as Bloody Bobby. So there we have Black Pumpkins. Next, I have Patrick Swayze and Steel Vaughn. This is a Vestron video release. It's a film directed by Lance Houle. It says on here, he is the desert warrior carving the future with his sword. It is called Steel Dawn. Whoever controls the water controls the valley, proclaims the evil Damneel in this cult favorite starring Patrick Swayze as Nomad, an ex-soldier roaming the desert wastes of a war-ravaged world. When his mentor is killed before he can take the job of peacemaker in the town of Meridian, Nomad lends the town's people his fighting skills, instead gaining the trust of war widow Kasha and her son Jux. But after Damneel learns of a secret water supply flowing under Kasha's farm, his thirst turns truly murderous in this dystopian 80s gem featuring Anthony Zorb and Brian James. So here I have Steel Dawn. Not sure if I've actually seen that film. Next, I have The Curse of Humpty Dumpty. This film is directed by Scott Jeffrey. And here I have as follows. Wendy returns to her childhood home with her daughters after she is diagnosed with dementia. While there, they come across a mysterious doll that Wendy seems to have strange fragmented memories of. As Wendy fights to collect the missing pieces of her past, the daughters discover the dark history of the sinister and deadly doll named Humpty Dumpty. So here we have The Curse of Humpty Dumpty. Okay, so this is another Shudder exclusive film. It's called The Power. Fear the darkness inside of you, it says. and it appears to be directed by Karina Faith. And it says on the back here, a masterclass of contemporary feminist horror film. Also, a profoundly unsettling thriller with a performance that would make Linda Blair proud. London, 1974, a Britain prepares for electrical blackouts to sweep across the country. Trainee nurse Val arrives for her first day of the crumbling East London Royal Infirmary, with most of the patients and staff evacuated to another hospital. Val must work the night shift in an empty building. Within these walls lies a deadly secret, forcing Val to face her own traumatic past in order to confront the malevolent power that's intent on destroying everything around her. So there I have The Power. Looking forward to that one. Next I have Eric Palmer's first film, which is called Arm Wrestling Roulette. I just want to show the back to you here just for a moment. And I picked this up off of Kunakai. It says, step up to the table and feel the rush. So Chip is a man who has seen the worst life has to offer. Down in his luck and on the verge of suicide, Chip finds himself caught in the middle of an underground arm wrestling tournament, unlike anything he has seen before. Here is the ultimate test of strength, style, and the fate, where each loss could mean more than just losing the match, but you life as well. Maybe live as well, might have been the words. But Whiskey Drinkers is turning out to be a fascinating company, because they have Eric has directed a sequel, which is pretty cool, called Inheritance, that will probably be on the next video. Next, I have, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are 5 films that I picked up from SOV Horror. This is part of their basement film collection. This is called The Shape. This is from the makers of Mr. Ice Cream Man. And this is a shot on video short from 1992. I do believe that it is based on it's connected to Halloween in some way, shape, or form. Next, I have Joseph Vogel's Specimen 6. And it says on here it's an experiment in bloody terror. Basement Videos is proud to present this special limited edition DVD of Specimen 6 director Joseph Vogel's unique take on the slasher genre. Dr. Marissa Gray is determined to create the ultimate weapon that will shatter all boundaries of science and the supernatural. Destroying the lives of many is of no consequence to this mad scientist as long as she reaches her nefarious goal. Specimen 6 is a slasher film that probes beyond the doorways of good and evil, beyond the realms of heaven and hell, a horror so immense that all who encounter it will fall prey to its darkness. Also on here are a couple of bonus shorts called Let's Play Dolls and Time to Science. So there are a couple of extras on that. Next, I have a film called The Roommate, and this is from the makers of Mr. Ice Cream Man, and it is a lost SOV short from 1992. Placing a classified ad in the paper seemed like a great way to find a new roommate, especially when the clean-cut and mild-mannered Michael Donner moves in. Their first mistake was trusting him. Their second, showing him where the gun is. From the makers of the shot-on-video classic Mr. Ice Cream Man comes The Roommate, an early SOV short from the filmmaking duo Mac Hale and Jim Mills. SOV Horror is proud to present this lost SOV gem for the first time ever on any format. So here I have The Roommate. Next I have, this is also part of the Basement Videos presents. This has Assault on the Snakemen and a bonus movie called Muppet Pastor from 2017 Riot House Productions and 2020. We have a 50-minute feature called Assault on the Snakemen, and Muppet Pastor is about 48 minutes, so it's a short feature film. Evidently, this is a Adam Riot Thorne double feature. So Basement Video proudly presents two slices of Canadian cheddar from no-budget filmmaker Adam Riot Thorne. In Assault on the Snakemen, the heroic roster is sent out to battle against an underground mutant gang of snakemen to gain an item of epic power. Next, in Muppet Pastor, Father Colm McDwink must battle mysterious demons that endanger a young woman and the world when they take over the bodies of three innocent-looking puppets. So there we have Assault on the Snakemen and Muppet Pastor. And finally, this is a short film from the director of Happy Holidays called Deck the Halls, and a bonus short film called Humble Foreskin. Deck the Halls is about 12 minutes, and Humble Foreskin is about 37 minutes. Both our films are from 2005 from Postmortem Pictures. Basement Videos proudly presents two early shot-on-video shorts from director Josh Swire. Happy Holidays, An Evening with My Great-Aunt Bedelia. In Deck the Halls, a nerd who is tired of being picked on seeks bloody revenge against those who have wronged him. Next, in Rumple Foreskin, an ancient demon is set out to collect the souls and foreskins of a group of young friends. Don't miss this double dose of horror comedy, foreskins, and holiday cheer. So here we have Deck the Halls and Humble Foreskin. So that completes some of the stuff that I had outside. But now I should show you what came from my good old buddy Tito Johnson. And one of the first things I wanted to show you is this really nice Vinegar Syndrome, and this is Beastmaster. Let's see if I can find how to open this. There's a magnet in the back here. Oh, and look at this art. This art is beautiful. But there is this magnet that's on the side here. This opens up right here. And then out pops a booklet. And then you also have the artwork on the outside of this amazing looking thing. And then you got the artwork on the inside of this too. So that is fucking amazing. And I actually watched a couple of the behind the scenes thing. I had to open this thing up right away. It was pretty fantastic. Next, I have a film called The Dinosaur Project. And it says, "Get ready for fear extinction." This says it's directed by Sid Bennett. It's put out by Viva. Definitely going to be checking this out. Dinosaur Project is a team of explorers searching for a mythical creature. When their helicopter is brought down by a flock of enormous birds, they discover strange creatures with which civilization has thought extinct for millions of years. So there I have the dinosaur experiment. Next I have Monstrous. Starring Anna Shields, Rachel Finninger, Grant Schumacher. Something is out there. It's directed by Bruce Wemple. A young woman goes searching for answers after her friend mysteriously vanishes in Whitehall, New York, an Adirondack town known for its Bigfoot sightings. She quickly learns that hiding in the woods is an evil more sinister than she could ever imagine. Put out by 377 Films in association with Traverse Terror. By the time you see it, you'll already be dead, is a tagline on the back. Gonna check that out. Love Bigfoot movies. Next I have Psychopaths, which is directed by Mickey Keating, put out by High Window Films, Glass Eye Picks, Samuel Goldwyn Films, and Sorrow Entertainment, along with High Window Films. The paths of multiple serial killers cross over one single blood-soaked night. Which psychopath will survive until morning? Follow the soul of a recently executed serial killer as he descends back to Earth and possesses his many followers beneath the full moon. There's Alice, an escaped mental patient who thinks she's living in a 1950s glamour world. Blondie, a beautiful seductress who lures men down into her suburban basement. The Midnight Strangler, who claims his victim in a seedy hotel. And an enigmatic masked contract killer who stalks the city with his own deadly agenda. So here I have Psychopaths. Gonna check that out eventually. Here I have The Redwood Massacre. This looks to be like it will be a slasher. It's directed by David Ryan Keith, and it comes from Uncorked Entertainment. Don't think I'll say anything about that. I want y'all to go out and get some of these films. This one is called Lila and Eve. Lila and Eve. Starring Viola Davis, Jennifer Lopez, and it says torn by loss, bound for revenge. It is a film put out by E1 Entertainment. It's directed by Charles Stone III, and this is also put out by Samuel Goldwyn Films. It was also a I guess Lifetime was somewhat behind this. So yeah, might be a Christmassy type movie. Maybe a slasher. Who knows? Next I have Bad Kids of Crestview Academy. Says return to the prep school from hell. This is put out by Momentum Pictures, and it's directed by Ben Browder. And on the back of this, it says if John Waters remade The Breakfast Club, it would look like the bad kids of Crestview Academy. Truly twisted high school movie. So here I have Bad Kids of Crestview Academy. It stars Sammy Hanratty, Kobe Arps, Sophia Taylor, Ali, Erica Daly, Matthew Frias, Ben Browder, Sufi Bradshaw, Ali Aston, and a special appearance by Sean Astin, Drake Bell, and Gina Gershon. So, there we go. I'm going to check that out eventually. Next, I happen to have all... these are... We have Ladrons de Tombs, which is also called Grave Robbers. And all of these films right here are directed by Ruben Galindo Jr. This is Grave Robbers. This is called Dimensions Occultus, also known as Don't Panic. And this one is called Cementerio del Terror, or otherwise known as Cemetery of Terror. These are all directed by the same director. These are Mexican horror films, independent films from the 80s. Vinegar Syndrome put out these releases. And though I already have these releases, these have their slip covers. So I think I'm going to keep these and make trade with my other three. Next I have My Dead Boyfriend. This is directed by Anthony Edwards, put out by Momentum Pictures and with Orion Pictures. So I'm going to check that out eventually. It stars Heather Graham, Kate Moenig, Griffin Dunne, Scott Michael Foster, Martha Milan, Viola Harris, John Corbett, Gina Gershon. So, hey, Gershon was in that Bad Kids Crestview, I believe. Next, I've got Blue Man Group. Evidently, the Complex Rock Tour Live. It's a music video thing. My sister's into the group. So I'm not sure whether I'm keeping it or not. Next, I have Octoman on Blu-ray, which on this also has the bonus second feature of the Cremators. It's got a video interview with Maria de Argon, and it's from Retro Media. It's from filmmaker Harry Essex, well known for scripting such classics as Creature from the Black Lagoon and It Came from Outer Space. And he tried his hands at directing Octoman was the result. Inspired by the success of The Creature, Harry's Octoman is a total B-movie hoot. Essex cast the film with sci-fi favorites Kerwin Matthews from Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, and Jeff Morrow from The Creature Walks Among Us, making this elusive movie much sought after by cult movie fans who spent years trying to track it down. Oscar-winning makeup effects artist Rick Baker from Ed Wood created a fun rubber monster suit, but the movie, much of it filmed silent and dubbed later, is a weird mixture of different grainy film stocks and odd choices. Included here as an extra bonus is Harry Essex's next sci-fi undertaking, The Cremators, from 1972. Like Octoman, much of the movie was filmed silent and dubbed later, with various degrees of success. Special visual effects by Doug Beswick and star the lovely Maria de Aragon from Blood Mania to liven things up. So here I have that particular film. Definitely going to be interesting. So next I have 65th. This is put out by E1 Entertainment with ITN distribution. With Black 4 Productions, Inc. Evidently, it's directed by M. Sean Cunningham. And it has a tagline of "Some secrets reveal themselves." So go out, pick up the film. Next, I guess this is a film that has to do with Kaboom. Obviously. It's Kaboom Merry Christmas, a very Kaboom Christmas. It is, I guess it includes 10 episodes of your favorite characters: Franklin's Magic Christmas, Franklin's Christmas Gift, Franklin's Gift, Franklin and the Tooth Fairy, The Jungle Book, Itchy Twitchy Ka, The Bridge, Lucky Star, The Race, and Donkey Kong Country, Ape Fu Young, and Bad Hair Day. So, interesting. Next I have, this says it's the epic sports movie for the guys who don't deserve it. It's called Balls Out. This semester, everyone scores. It stars Jake Lacey, Nick Kosher, Beck Bennett, Brian McElhaney, Nick Rutherford, Jay Farrow, Nikki Reed, and Kate McKinnon. Put out by Orion Pictures. It was a Tribeca Film Festival 2014 special selection, and it's directed by Andrew Disney. So I'm looking forward to checking that out, even though I'm not really a sports film fanatic. So this was a Vinegar Syndrome release. It's called Killbirds, or Killing Birds. It just so happens to be Zombie 5. And it's directed by Claudio Lattanzi. So yeah, that artwork is pretty fantastic. Looking forward to checking that out in its mastery. Next, I have a horror film called Him. It says his gift could be a curse. It stars Fionn Whitehead, James Murray, Patrick Robinson, Simona Brown. It's directed by Andy De Emoni. Him stars Fionn Whitehead of Dunkirk as a 17-year-old boy trapped in a limbo between two new homes and families following the divorce of his parents. Like any teenager, he is riding a roller coaster of confused emotions, but his behavior is also triggered by something else, a primal struggle to contain the terrifying secret of a supernatural power inherited from his grandfather. Only his grandmother knows the potentially dangerous consequences if, among the turmoil of his fractured family, Him uses this gift for anything other than good. So there we have Him. Gonna check that out eventually. Next, I have from Massacre Video, Mr. No Legs. This says the cops want to get him, the mob wants to hit him, but no one wants to meet him face to face. Mr. No Legs. It's a brand new 2K restoration from an extremely rare French 35mm print. It's from director Raquel Browning. He was the co-creator of Flipper and titular star of The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Interesting. So, I guess this film is connected to The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Looking forward to checking that out. Next, I have Misfortune. This stars Kevin Gage and Desmond Devenish. Digging up the past comes with a price. And the film stars, or is directed by Desmond Devenish. It's put out by Ewin Entertainment and distributed by ITN Distribution. So, looking forward to checking that out eventually. Next, I have another VS release, Vinegar Syndrome, if you do not know the name. This is Memorial Day Massacre. This is a modern. This was a drive-in feature that was. I know it was on the the 50 packs that came out with Mill Creek. So I guess they spruced it up and stuff. The film is directed by Robert C. Hughes. So I thought that was interesting to have. Definitely not gonna be not watched for long. The next film I have is stars Nathan Kress, Virginia Gardner, and Ryan Higa in Tell Me How I Die. And it's directed by DJ Viola. Put out by Base Station Big Block and Los Angeles Center Studios in association with Culprit Creative and Super Gravity Pictures. Put out by E1 and ITN Distribution. So, should be entertaining once I get to it. Next, I have a horror comedy put out by Screen Media. It's called Paranormal Activity. The activity in this bedroom is normal. It's directed by Roger Roth and put together with Screen Media Films and Hollywood Productions. I guess they present in association with Waterline Pictures and co-produced with Filmed Imagination. It stars William Patrick Riley, Sasha Formoso, Dimitri Creighton, Brianna Nicole, Mighty Mike. So, Paranormal Activity. Looking forward to checking that out. Next, I have another film called Blue Hill Avenue. And this was put out by Artisan. It's directed by Craig Ross Jr. And it says on here it stars Alan Payne, Andrew Divoff, and Clarence Williams III. William Forsyth as Brian Torrance. And it says here, the American Dream. Earn it, buy it, kill for it. Looks like this is a gangster film. It says it was a grand jury prize in 2001 for Best Director category at Urban World Film Festival. So, looking forward to checking that particular film out. Next, I have another VS release. It's called Who Done It. It's got some cool artwork. On the back here, it says 7 people are dead and you're next. And it is directed by William T. Naud. So, I'm looking forward to checking out Who Done It. By the way, Retro Media is, I believe, the Fred Olen Ray. It's connected to Fred Olen Ray. And here I have Bikini Frankenstein and Twilight Vamps on Blu-ray, starring Christine Nagayon and Beverly Lynn. Bikini Frankenstein from 2010 and Twilight Vamps from 2010 turn the classic icons of horror loose in this late-night cable classic double feature of thrills and chills, starring an all-star cast that includes the sensational Christine Nagayon, Beverly Lynn, Brandon Rackley, Alexis Texas, and the amazing Jordan Cole as Frankenstein's creation. An incredible spoof of both the Frankenstein and Dracula genres. It aims to please and tease, guaranteed to raise more than the dead. And I guess there are bonus collectible. I guess here's a collectible card. And that ends that first box. So I have a second box here. And let me just bring them out. Mamma mia. Alrighty. Stack and stack. Alrighty, so this is going to be a mix of Full Moon because I ended up spending $160 for Full Moon for sending me those 7. It was only kosher for me to return the favor. And I don't get it. I asked for a copy of the remastered Crashed. And for spending $160, the least they could have done is send me a free fucking movie. How often do people just spend like that amount of loads of cash on them? I don't get it. But anyways, I just thought that was kind of stupid. I spent $160. You can't send me a free movie. What the hell? But any case, I picked up Zombathon. It says the liveliest festival of the dead is about to begin. It's part of Full Moon's Grindhouse collection, and it's directed by Ken Dixon. Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the graveyard, Zombathon puts more dead bodies back into action than Frankenstein ever dreamed of, as one zombie gem after another creeps across your screen. From the classic cornerstone of the undead zombie through the wet look of Zombie Lake and the dry looks of Oasis of the Zombies, any real horror fan will relish this smorgasbord of zombie fare. Revenge of the Zombies, Return of the Zombies, and we've got them coming and going. White zombies, space zombies, zombies from all wakes of death. The Invisible Dead appear by popular demand. This hysterical midnight matinee clearly shows death is never having to say you're not coming back. The living dead are only living end, and in Zombathon. So here I have Zombathon, which this might be a greatest hits of Living Dead films. I don't know. But here I have Witch House, and it says on here, Evil Beyond Evil. It is a film that is directed by David DeCocta, and yeah, should be self-explanatory. Next, I have Witch House 2. This stars Andrew Prine, Nicholas Lanier, Elizabeth Hobgood, and it says the witch is back, and it says Witch House 2 Blood Coven. And this one is directed by J.R. Brookwalter. Next, I have Vengeance of the Dead. This one is directed by Don Adams and Harry James Picardi. Says the dead never forget. And it stars Michael Galvin, Mark Volmers, Susan Karsnick, with original music by Matthew Jason Walsh. So definitely going to be checking that out, Vengeance of the Dead. Next I have Virgin Hunters 2, which says it's the second coming. This is director's cut. It's written and directed by Sybil Richards. It's from Surrender Cinema. It's the softcore porn line of Fullmoon. Gonna check that out eventually. Next, I ordered from the Criterion Collection recently, and this is one of the ones that also came today. This is The Night of the Hunter. It stars Robert Mitchum and Shelley Winters, very young Shelley Winters, and it's directed by Charles Lofton. So, very excited to own that one. Next, I have a copy of The Damned on Blu-ray. This is also from the Criterion Collection. It's directed by Luchino Visconti. And I thought this was a cool cover of the Blu-ray. Gonna check that out eventually. Next, I picked up Sullivan's Travels, a movie that stars Joel McRae and Veronica Lake. It was written and directed by Preston Sturges, and I think this is a film that definitely can go along with the Coen brothers film, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? So it's definitely cool to own this, finally. Next, I have a film called Petrified. It says, Hideous, Hungry, and on the Loose. Fullmoon Features presents, and this says it's directed by Charles Band. So I'm definitely going to check this out. This one seems to be a recent film directed by Charles Band not too long ago. Next, I have a film that's remastered from the original negative called Naked Girl Murdered in the Park, and it's got an uncut Italian language version. It's directed by Alfonso Brescia. And it says A Lost Giallo Shocker, uncut remastered. It says, from Italian exploitation film director Alfonso Brescia, War of the Robots and the Beast in Space, comes Naked Girl Murdered in the Park, a rarely seen 1972 giallo thriller filled with sex, nudity, and style to burn. When a millionaire is found dead in a rickety amusement park ride, his less than savory family stands to inherit his vast fortune. Naturally, the insurance company investigates, setting forth a serpentine series of double dealings, dark secrets revealed, and gruesome murders. Once the titular deceased and indeed naked dame shows up, all bets are off. As twists follow turns, throats are cut, and bodies brutalized, climaxing in an outrageous carnage-filled carnival finale. So here I have Naked Girl Murdered in the Park. Go check that out. Definitely. Next I have Lurking Fear. This is based on H.P. Lovecraft's writing, and it has the tagline of Infinite Evil. And it's directed by C. Courtney Joyner. So I'm definitely going to be checking this out eventually. Next I have Kra, the Sea Monster. From the depths of hell he came. Film directed by Aaron Osborne. Lord Doom, evil master of Proyas, the Dark Planet, sends Kra, the sea monster, to Earth as part of his plan to dominate the galaxy. And the rest, well, you're just going to have to get it yourself. Next, I have Fairy Tales. Someday her prince will come. This is, let's see, directed by Harry Tampa. It stars Don Sparks, featuring Cy Richardson as Sirius the Pimp, Brenda Fogarty, Martha Reeves, Linnea Quigley, Professor Irwin Corley, Nye Bonet, Robert Stotts, Angela Ames, and Bob Leslie is Fairy Tales. So, definitely gonna be a cheery bunch to watch. Alright. Next, this is another one in the Fullmoon's Grindhouse collection. It's called Dreamaniac. And it's directed by David DeCocteau. Put out by Empire Pictures, so it's just that old. In this sleep-stirring tradition of Phantasm and Nightmare on Elm Street, Dreamaniac introduces Lily, a deadly leading lady who makes Freddy look like a bargain basement boogeyman. Adam is a heavy metal rocker and part-time Satanist. When Lily enters his dreams, he uses black magic to summon her into reality. Too late, Adam learns that Lily is a succubus, a demon seductress who makes love to men and murders them, though not necessarily in that order. When she crashes Adam's sister's sorority bash, the blood flows and the body count rises. But Adam, entranced by her power, soon faces a tough decision. Will he break free to save his sister and her girlfriend? Or will he experience the ultimate sensation of loving Lily? Here I have Dreamaniac. Next, this was another Criterion release pickup. It's Crumb. It is directed by Terry Zwigoff. And it's a film that was filmed in 2005. I thought I'd check this out. This is based on the artist behind the illustrations of Fritz the Cat. Next, I did pick up Corona Zombies. This is directed by Charles Band. It says the most controversial exploitation movie of the year. And it stars Barbie and Kendra. And I'm just going to move on. So next, I have a film called Cinderella. This says, "What the Prince Slipped Cinderella was not a slipper." And it's directed by Michael Pataki. It stars Cheryl Smith, Kirk Scott, Brett Smiley, Cy Richardson, Yana Nirvana, Marilyn Corwin, Jennifer Doyle, Buckley Norris, Pamela Stonebrook. With music by Andrew Belling. So I'm definitely going to be checking that out eventually. Next, I have a Grindhouse original called Badass Motherfuckers. This is a movie a blaxploitation film that was directed by Charles Band. Welcome to the world of Badass Motherfuckers, a place where the fists fly fast, the kicks pack a blast, and the Soul Sisters take down all the Mrs. Honeys. From the streets of Harlem, the saloons of the Old West, this collection of the funkiest trailers and clips from flicks of the blaxploitation era will act as a game plan for taking down the man. Can you dig it? Former NFL star and legendary blaxploitation actor Fred the Hammer Williamson is your host with the motherfucking most. And if you cross his path, you're gonna have to get his boot out your ass. So I guess that's a trailer thing. I didn't even know. I thought it was a movie. So next, I have this from the creators of the original classic, the sequel you've never seen, Lost in Time. This is Trancer's City of Lost Angels, starring Tim Thomerson and Helen Hunt. This film is directed by Charles Band. And I'm sure it's just self-explanatory. The next is this is also from the Fullmoon's Grindhouse collection. It's called The Possessor. Nothing can satisfy her unholy hungers. And it says the final challenge of the Exorcist. Beyond the terror of the Exorcist, the Amityville Horror, and the Omen, lies a sadistic female demon called Hagia, the Possessor. When Peter, an archaeology student, opens Hagia's cursed medallion, her spirit immediately takes control of him, and begins a hellish assault on his loved ones. Peter's girlfriend Sherry, his sister and mother, soon fall prey to Hagia's twisted carnal advances. And when Peter undergoes the hideous sexual transformation into Hagia, his family has but one recourse: Brother Erasmo, the exorcist. Before long, there ensues a frenzied battle between good and evil that escalates to a literally eye-popping, blood-curdling climax that outshocks the exorcist. Viewers beware, once the possessor snatches your soul, you will never be the same. So here we have The Possessor. Next, we have The Disembodied. This is directed by Charles Band. And it says, based on a true story. So, definitely going to check that out eventually. Chandra the Jungle Girl. This is directed by Sybil Richards. Sybil Richards? Okay. Chandra's attacks come only by the light of the full moon, and they're always fatal. But this wild creature from the jungles of Brazil doesn't maim or destroy her victims. She pleasures them to death, draining their vital essence sexually. 4 biologists set out to study and capture this elusive predator, but their pursuit becomes a race against time as Chandra winds up stalking them instead. So next I have Real Evil. This is directed by Danny Draven. And this looks to be a found footage film. It says the evil is real. The footage has been found. But it's put out by Fullmoon. That's an oddball. Next, I have Real Naughty Virtual Virgins, which I believe to be another greatest hits from Surrender Cinema. Although this is directed by Sybil Richards. Real Naughty Virtual Virgins. Strap on your VR helmet and plug into the fantasy beyond your wildest dreams. When Nebishmel develops a virtual reality machine, he takes his campus and the world by storm. Soon everyone wants to get in on the craze, and digital foreplay becomes the new national pastime. Instead, they cut right into it. No flying or exploring strange new worlds. Just straight to the funny business. Never to even broach the notion of using the system for anything but stimulated coitus. And bless them for it. For in their world, this world of virtual virgins, every waterfall cascades over embracing lovers. Every forest glen hides naked nymphs, and every conflict ends in passionate romance. Because the virtual world is one of blissful perfection, free of danger and strife. Welcome to a paradise of information age where everyone, no matter how jaded and defiled, is a virtual virgin. So there we have it. A greatest hits, I think. Next I have Devious, which this is another film that's directed by Charles Band. It was, I guess Devious is now the name of Skullheads. So that's interesting. I thought I didn't have that one. Now I guess I do. So this is a digitally remastered version of Dark Angel: The Ascent. I have a previous version, but this cover is rad. And it's directed by Linda Hassani. Deep in the depths of hell, Veronica, Angel Featherstone, the Zero Effects, soul survivors, and friends. A young demoness yearns to visit the world of man. Veronica finds a secret passage and ascends from Hades with her dog Hellraiser, and they find themselves on the streets of a modern American city. Disguised as human, she meets Max Barris, a young doctor, and begins living with him. Veronica decides her mission in life is to punish the wicked and evil, and goes on about this with a bloody vengeance. She hunts down evildoers and kills them, feeding parts of their bodies to her dog, and so on and so forth. Definitely going to check this out. I still haven't watched it from the copy that I have. Next I have a Grindhouse original called Blood of a Thousand Virgins. And this is directed by Charles Band and edited by Leroy Patterson. It's hosted by Nikki Lay. I guess this is another greatest hits of... Okay, so the young and the innocent have their lives threatened by sick degenerates, evil creatures, and the devil himself. Will they escape their virginity intact? Will they get revenge on their pervy attackers? Will our host make it out alive? All these questions and more will be stripped down and explored in the sultriest series of trailers hosted by Playboy Playmate Nikki Lay. Bear witness as our host guides you through topics like male and female virgins. Learn as she explains the many reasons for staying a virgin. run in fear while being chased by those who hunt virgins, and watch the blood fly when the tables are turned with Revenge of the Virgin. So stay intimately close to our host as you wade ankle deep through the blood of 1,000 virgins. So that's another trailer thing. I guess he likes to do trailer things. So here is another Deadly 10. Blade the Iron Cross. This looks like it's directed by John Lecago. And I could only buy it on Blu-ray because evidently all the DVDs were taken. It says on the front here, feels like a throwback to classic Full Moon films. So next I have Bikini Apocalypse, which this is directed by Francis Locke. It is a Surrender Cinema film. It stars Nicole Oring, Elena Evans, Lindsay Meadows, Monica Mayhem, Lena Starr, April Hanna, Mary Carey, Jodie Moore, and Natalie Moore. Bikini Apocalypse. Next, I have Beach Babes from Beyond, the director's cut, and Beach Babes 2, Cave Girl Island, which Ellen Cabot directs both of them. I guess it's one of Full Moon's hottest titles. But I am definitely looking forward to checking out this remastered film from the original camera negative of this film. And checking out its sequel, at least. Looking forward to those. And I guess I have here Barbie and Kendra Save the Tiger King. This is also directed by Charles Band, and that's just him mixing much of his own stock footage to create a pandemic story, and that's the sequel to his pandemic Corona Zombies story. So here I have Assault of the Killer Bimbos. It's directed by Anita Rosenberg, put out by Full Moon Features with Titan Productions. Two go-go dancers, Lulu, played by Elizabeth Keitan, and Peaches, played by Christina Whittaker, are framed for the murder of their employer by the real killer, sleazy gangster Vinny, played by Mike Muscat. Picking up waitress Darlene, played by Tammy Souza. Along the way, the three are involved in wild car chases with cops as they head south across the border into Mexico, where they unexpectedly encounter Vinny in a Fleabag motel. So here I have that one. That one I'm definitely going to be checking out. Here's another. Okay, so this stars Jane Baker, Brigitte LaHaye, and Fleur Solier. This is called Amorous Sisters. It's from Scott Elite Entertainment and Full Moon Pictures. It's directed by Erwin C. Dietrich. So I'm definitely going to be checking that out. And here is an older one. It's called Andromeda, the Pleasure Planet. It's directed by Darren Maloney. But Full Moon definitely presents this as a Surrender Cinema production. This is definitely going to be one of those one. Okay, so 3 of the galaxy's most adventurous fighter pilots have just gotten a 3-day pass and land on Andromeda in search of the pleasure planet's special kind of entertainment. When they discover that all of the women and the party have left for parts unknown, they embark on a dedicated mission to find and then return with the finest party girls in the universe. So there we have it. Andromeda, the pleasure planet. So that concludes everything that I have for this round. But definitely let me know what you have in your collection and whether you liked any of these films. And if you like, you can message me and ask me where I might have picked these up if you haven't figured it out. So thank you for listening. I enjoy sharing you what I pick up, and like, share, and subscribe, and I'll definitely be showing you what I have in store in the next coming weeks. So thank you and enjoy.
You were good, kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you'll always be second best, see?